Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Smacked Up Wrestling Podcast. Bitches, we are fucking back. As always, I'm your host, Will. I am joined by the man who kicked Ric Flair in the balls and taught him how to woo, Martin.
It's true, I time travelled as Paul Bearer and kept going up to him backstage going, woo, in his ear. First ever woo was a woo. I'm telling you, watch Undertaker thing. There's an Undertaker thing with him, Paul Bearer and Ric Flair, and he used it in the Ric Flair best of, and Paul Bearer would go about going, woo, like a fucking fat ghost.
And Martin, we are joined by the Queen of the Ring, brand new to the podcast.
Brand new to unprofessionalism by the sound of things.
Yep, like we always carry on with this podcast. It's so unprofessional.
All
Everyone,
that we have.
welcome Kirsty. How are you doing, pal?
I'm good. I'm excited for the day, guys. How are yous?
Not bad. A good Raw and a alright SmackDown. I can't complain.
I would say the other way around. An alright Raw and a damn good SmackDown, because it did exactly what it needed to do. But we've also got a few weeks that we missed out on. I won the Rumble by default because Will didn't actually say anything about it, and I made notes. So I won all the matches.
All of them. You are.
Prediction series is now me in the lead, probably, if I could be bothered counting it. So I propose, Billiam, that WrestleMania, whoever wins WrestleMania wins the whole thing.
Right, fine, fair enough.
Since we missed three shows.
What we'll do, because everybody's heard me and Martin talk, what got us into wrestling, Kirsty, you've been actually a listener to the show. And you've heard, like, say, me and Martin, how, like, say, what brought us into wrestling, like, say, I was with Stone Cold, Martin's with Mick Foley, the background we have with wrestling going back to when we were young. So just to give the listeners just an idea of what you've watched, what you've actually done in the ring, because it's really impressive who you actually trained with and who taught you. If you can let the people know everything you've done.
Awesome, no bother. Well, I was kind of born into watching wrestling because my granddad and my dad were massive fans, so I don't really remember what my first match or anything was. But for me, it was always, growing up, it was the Hardy Boys and Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold. Those were my guys, like from probably about 5 onwards. I just really fell in love with, I've always really seemed to like small guys though, like obviously the Hardys, like Jeff was wee, Sean was wee, AJ Styles
Sorry,
has been my...
I shouldn't even laugh. I like wee guys. He was wee and he was... Sorry.
I've always liked smaller and stature and height guys. Isn't that better?
Well done.
That better?
It would have taken him 20 minutes to come up with that.
I swear I'm actually usually a pretty good talker.
You sound fine, it's just me being an awkward dirty bastard. Or double her entendre and stuff like that.
Fair enough.
Sorry.
It's alright, man. When I was 18, it wasn't a lot of wrestling training or anything, but for a couple of months I was at the Scottish Wrestling Alliance, and I was trained by like Damo, and like everybody was there, like Nikki Storm, Viper, like all those kind of people were there when I was there, and that was a whole lot of fun. I never got to like have a match or anything because through family issues and stuff I had to stop, but yeah, that was a whole lot of fun and really opened my eyes to how difficult wrestling really is. Even just the basic stuff, so much goes into it, and I have so much more respect now than I did in my teenage years, expecting everybody just to be jumping off everything and taking crazy bumps, and now I'm a lot more acutely attuned, like, oh, that didn't look good, somebody's going to get hurt. I'm a lot more appreciative of it that way. So yeah, I was born in 93, so by the time I was 5, the Attitude Era was like in, and that's what I got brought up on. So
Jesus Christ, I'm going to feel like an old bastard. Just turned 32 at the weekend.
See, I feel I'm 32 in a couple of weeks. So
aye.
a few older stuff now. But no,
Now
pal.
we've got the youth vote.
I know, but
I
but definitely, pal. Like you were saying, and this is something I wanted to touch on. Like Viper's like a good friend of the show, Martin. Nikki Storm is everybody I know
A hero.
Yep, is Nikki Cross in NXT.
NXT right now. I'm so proud of her.
So to have like that backing power is amazing, and like out of us is like as much like we're wrestling fans. I've done a few things in a ring, but it was boxing and MMA. That's the only thing I've done. But you've legitimately took a bump. You properly took a bump. How did that feel the first time you actually took one?
Well, at first it was on like a crash mat, so it wasn't too bad. It was kind of like when you're doing like gymnastics, like in gym and stuff. But like properly first time on a canvas, like on the ring mat, it's solid. It's so sore. I remember after my first like 3 hour training day, I couldn't walk properly for a week, and I lived in a close upstairs.
Aye.
And I went to the gym and stuff. Like I didn't consider myself an unfit person. I kind of went in going, I can probably do this. And after the first day, I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to move again. It's so difficult.
But you've done it, pal. That's the most important thing. I mean, what is that? That's like one of the hardest things to try and do. Before you even try any moves, you've got to get used to how to protect yourself and take the bump.
That's the thing is, like, I remember the first time, like the mat was laid out and one of the guys was like, right, just fall backwards. And I was like, okay. And then when I went to do it, there was an instantaneous hesitation because it's literally the most unnatural thing in the world to throw yourself face first or backwards to the ground. And I was like, holy shit, I've got like to become a wrestler, you've got to overcome your natural instinct to protect yourself. So like anybody that can do it at all has my utmost respect, because that alone was like, what have I got myself into? Like, what is this?
No, but fair play to you, pal.
I mean, all the respect in the world for even trying it. It can be terrifying. I mean, for us, we kind of know some stuff from just having been fans for so long. You can see when maybe something doesn't go quite smoothly, or you know what's going to hurt, but it's a whole other thing when you actually take it. Yeah,
like even just hitting the ropes, like ropes are so hard.
Yes.
Like the bruise across your back from like the first times.
Like even like something like Tough Enough, and they explained that on the original series, that's people like bruising their kidneys from taking ropes wrong, and it looks like the simplest thing in the world.
It really does, but see, actually trying to make sure you plant your feet right and you get your back straight against it, and you're
I remember the ropes were really loose, obviously for how to manoeuvre, like bouncing off the ropes. And like they'd done nothing to me, but I can imagine with the wrestling ring, they've got to be tight as fuck for the spring. Yeah. So I can imagine, pal, and like Martin said, like some of the things it happens inside, and even the rope marks, that could fucking hell, man.
Like, as I said, like I was used to doing like, I even tried to prepare a little bit, like before I went to like my first day, and like done like squats and stuff, and I was like, I can do it. No, literally like within the first 15 minutes, even just warming up was hell. I've never done so many squats in all my life. Like I could not walk. Like my legs were like jelly. I honestly thought I was dying the next day after my first one, but I kept going back to it because it was a lot of fun. Like, because as a fan, I love wrestling. But yeah, the ropes are even like with professional wrestlers, you don't really understand how much control it takes either because of that bounce back. Like obviously most wrestlers make it look as if it's they're in control the entire time, but the first time I ran at those ropes and then bounced forward, I went because I'm a little girl, I'm only 5'4". I went like flying forward. I was like, no wonder people run these so fast. You don't have a choice. Even just trying to learn to control that is really difficult, but it's a really good way. I think every wrestling fan should try it at some point just to get a better understanding of how difficult it really is, because obviously wrestlers always say all the time, look, wrestling's so difficult, but because they'll make it look so easy, I don't think people really truly understand how difficult it really is.
The question I've got to ask, was, did you have an idea what you were going to call yourself, your in-ring name?
Oh, that's a good one.
I didn't have like a gimmick or anything, but like my dad had just died, so I wanted to take his name. So I was just going to be. There was 4 Kirstys. Let me say this: in my wrestling school, I was the 4th, so I couldn't be Kirsty because Kirsty Love already had that.
Right.
So I was just going to be KG McGowan, I think, which would have been simple and easily enough.
Had there ever been a gimmick that you'd thought of? Like, not even one that you're definitely going to go with, but if, obviously you'd have been thinking of ideas during that time, especially if you're stuck lying down, having a bath, or trying to get over the sore muscles. Was there ever anything you thought that would be cool to see?
Honestly, when I get into it, I was really enjoying submission stuff, so I was more thinking about the wrestling style. Like, I wanted to find out what I was good at in wrestling before I started to try and make up a gimmick kind of thing.
Very sensible. Very sensible. I don't know, like, I've told Will my amazing wrestling line if I had any of the skill or anything.
You're still pinned to your Twitter.
You're damn right I've pinned it to my Twitter because it's money. It's absolutely money. My name would be Rich Luxury.
Rich Luxury, that's great.
And my tag team partner would be called Rick Leisure.
Oh, wow. That's
luxury.
Yes.
Money. It doesn't matter if he's like a Barra's $1 million man or something.
Barra's $1 million man, that's amazing.
Always think that's where the money is. You don't need to take a bump if you can act like a prick.
True.
$1 million man done it for years.
Exactly. And for some reason he decided Jesus was the answer. But,
fuck.
He did all right for himself with that gimmick.
Speaking of bumps, let's talk about fucking Raw for a second. Goldberg finally took a bump!
No, he took his second bump.
Oh, fuck it. Well, his first bump was into the wall, but...
that door took him out.
But...
That's not how you face bump.
Hey, that's two guys.
He
took out Goldberg and he took out the Shockmaster.
Oh, that door's some challenger, by the way. That
should be world champ. See if that was DDT Pro, that would be the world champion right now.
Yep.
It totally would be.
And I'd watch the shit out of it. Come on, door! Come on!
Cannot beat the door.
Right, obviously we had a pretty piss poor pay-per-view with the ending.
It was a house show, wasn't it?
It really was.
Like a very awful Raw, but an average house show.
I thought they were coming for Glasgow for a sec.
It felt like that. It honestly felt like I was watching the live Raw all over again when I was there. But
yeah,
the Raw in Chicago, they changed up a few of the matches. We didn't get to see same pairings. Well, we did with like Sami and Kevin Owens, but it was actually good to see them face off each other again because they never have a bad match. It's never a bad match, so you don't tick that box off. Oh shit, here we see this again. But
no, definitely, I agree there. Every time I see their name on a card, I know that that's potentially probably match of the night. They're
almost
so good
20
together.
Years between them going at it. It's this generation's so-called Rock, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
That's how big a deal it is to me. And I don't care how many times I see it because every single match they've had has been completely different.
Yeah.
Aye.
I mean, even like the fake, he's going for the pop-up powerbomb. Not drop kick because he knows it so well now. It was really well done.
There are a lot of wrestlers, just not even just now, but I mean all through like the past 20 odd years where like you've seen them go at it again and again, and they just went through the same spots, whether out of laziness, whether out of avoiding injury or whatever. But you never see that with these two. They always have this story of their big spots being scouted, and it makes such a difference. Like Sammy knows he's going to go for the Irish whip to set up the bomb. So what's he going to do? He's either going to reverse the whip, or he's going to slide into him to go under him, or he's going to jump over him, and he knows he has to get around that. And even when he's in the bomb position, he can slip out. It's just they treat their audience with respect by how they wrestle, And
I think that was one thing we've got, like, I took away from Raw, when you look back on it all. Right, now we've got confirmed set up for WrestleMania. Kevin Owens, Chris Jericho for the US title.
The US title.
I'm
glad that they're having a belt rather than no belt at all, at
I know,
least
but
at the moment.
it's such a weird recent thing on both shows. Like it happened with Dean. He lost his world title, he gets the IC belt. Kev is probably going to win this match at Mania because Jericho's probably doing some Fozzy stuff for a few months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't know for sure, but it's probably the case.
Yeah, because he's
which is
extended his contract already.
Aye.
Like, so that he's through to Mania, so...
Aye. And that's fine, because there's nothing wrong with Jericho having the break and staying kind of fresh, I suppose. That said, with how good this run's been, and I think it's been his
best run ever.
Yeah.
Except for 2008.
I was ready to say that with Shawn
Aye.
Michaels. Yeah.
Because that was something special. It's a bit of a shame that he'll go away, but given how Raw has been doing overall, he's probably right to get out the way for a bit, because, and we'll get on to it later when we get to the Raw women, especially. They just seem a little bit lost when it comes to baby faces.
I mean, that's one of the things I found, like, if you take Raw, I mean, it's the Chicago crowd, probably the greatest wrestling crowd you'll ever get all the time. It's always a great atmosphere. And, like, the faces that night didn't seem to show up.
Yeah.
Even booing Goldberg, because they know it's bullshit.
Well, exactly. I mean, that match with Owens was actually shorter than Goldberg's matches against jobbers in WCW.
Exactly.
That's
atrocious.
What really
upset me. For me, Kevin and Chris have been the thing to keep watching Raw this entire
absolutely
year. So for them to give them a lesser time than what jobbers used to get in WCW is horrible. And I've heard people say that's to protect Brock, to make it look as if Brock lasted longer. But I hate it. I do not like it whatsoever. That takes away
from what that Brock match was. It was supposed to be shocking and upset, and it's going to be much lesser one if he's going to go through other people in a quicker time.
I mean, the thing is... sorry, Kirsty, on you go, pal.
No, as I was going to say, I just think they don't trust them to either not hurt somebody, not hurt himself, or to have a terrible match. So they've got to keep it short, but I just don't see why you'd put a title on somebody that you feel that way about.
Exactly, but a quick question, and I honestly don't know the answer, because I know before the match, the so-called match with Brock, Goldberg hadn't even stepped into a ring in practice. Has he actually done so between times, other than giving promos? I mean, I haven't heard one way or the other. Just wondering if you guys have.
Apparently, it's still with Rusev. That's the only thing I've heard.
Well, that's good. Speaking of which, just while I remember, sorry, Rusev tweeted out something like "thank you" and has pretty much vanished. This was after Fastlane the other night, where he pretty much got jobbed out for a minute by Big Show. Now, I wouldn't even say that it was that bad, because, you know, for whatever reason, he does his gender, but Big Show battered him, and then he tweets this out, and then they've just been a bit quiet on him. And I don't know, like, certain dirt sheets are trying to make out that there's some kind of heat on him or whatever, but I've not heard anything.
I've heard that he's been getting heat, but I haven't heard if, like, I don't know if he's left. I don't think he has. I feel as if
would have heard that by now.
Yeah, like, I feel as if that would have been everywhere instantaneously, but maybe they're just telling him that he's getting a cool-off period again, because they'd done that a little while ago with him, where they just didn't have him on for like a month or so.
Aye,
like kind of as punishment.
I mean, I don't really see why they'd need it. It's all like, what? How are they going to get any kind of advantage by leaving one of their best heels off the telly?
I don't know.
Why do it?
And I don't understand why they keep pushing him to a certain extent
and then backing off on
the ball. Yeah.
I mean, there's the thing. Right? Where's Jinder Mahal going to go? Apart from a wellness policy test. But, where's the
a gender change clinic.
Hi-yo! You've been holding that one, haven't you?
Damn right, I have.
The mid card's gone. There's zero mid card.
Aye.
That's the thing. Even if Kevin Owens wins this US belt, it's going to be the exact same story with Roman Reigns when he had it. If after the WrestleMania, possibly after Extreme Rules, depending, because that's it done. Any feuds, they've got to have another draft. They've got to now start bringing.
Oh, but I was expecting one round about
Same.
this time of year
Mania.
anyway.
Yeah.
After Mania, because they need
That's
it.
when they reset everything.
Yeah, they really, really need it. Raw is it's so apparent it needs a mid card, whereas SmackDown is apparent it needs something to do with its tag team, because
Aye,
Yeah.
definitely.
you can see where the holes are now. They've started filling the holes with, like, say, like bringing in Mickey James and that in SmackDown.
They built their own guys. I mean, you're looking at SmackDown didn't have a mid card for a little while either. Let's be honest. And it was just Miz and Dolph.
Yeah.
But
I think that's why they put Dean back there,
Yes.
and I really liked what him and Byron have got going on just now. I really like that. Like, I'm a fan of what's happening between them.
Aye, Barron's came on quite a bit. Now, if you listen to the older podcast, you'll quite rightly hear me slaughter him.
First episode, mate. That was the first episode. We called it. There's a face in his belly. Next night in SmackDown, he's got a T-shirt ever since.
Aye, and it's worked wonders for him, along with actually learning how to wrestle and, get some timing. Because when he was on NXT, even in his later days, he was a very dangerous worker. His timing was all off. And it looked like he was going to hurt someone, and I couldn't understand why he was still getting the chances he was. Something clicked. Maybe it was Kane helping him out.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just because after 3 or 4 years of constant wrestling, he can't do anything but improve. But he's a totally different worker now.
I think Kane obviously really helped him, but I think the reason he got his initial push is because he's got his psychology major. He understands that side of it so well that all he really needed was the fundamentals of it, and obviously Kane's helped him a lot.
Yeah,
and
there's
it
fun
shows
little mannerisms that are very Kane-like that he does, so you can tell just how closely they've worked together. Because I don't think he even realises he's doing it.
Before we talk about it, I mean, that was a brilliant segment they two had in SmackDown. I loved that.
Plenty of time to get there.
Plenty of time to get there. Going back to this crowd who were basically calling bullshit at everything.
Aye.
Let's talk about the Goldberg scenario. The fans don't want it.
No.
I mean, when you look at SmackDown, who's pushing Bray Wyatt to the moon for WrestleMania, why not do the same with Kevin Owens? Why is it always got to be a part-timer? And then they wonder why the CM Punk chance came.
Well, the thing about WrestleMania now is it's the one night a year WWE is mainstream because of the money involved in the coverage it gets. So part of it, at the very least, is the fact that they want someone that your either lapsed fan will recognise and tell your average non-wrestling punter about, or they just want people to look at the size of this big scary guy, which isn't really something you get with many modern wrestlers. There's exceptions, obviously, like Strowman, but your best workers are Shawn Michaels sized.
Yeah, AJ.
They aren't imposing. They are fantastic, but if you're somebody that just looks in on it occasionally, you're not going to know anything about, say, Seth Rollins, apart from, wasn't he that guy that had another porn thing leaked? Or he's a bit wee, is he really a wrestler? And it's unfair and it's wrong, but this is the kind of mindset that WWE assume that they're dealing with. Mm-hmm. This is why Roman's getting the push he's getting, because he looks like he came out the 80s.
Yeah.
And WrestleMania's now for everyone. It's no for the hardcore, despite the fact that the people that go to WrestleMania are the hardcore.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why last year got such a bad reception.
Yes.
Because even though because it's bigger than the Super Bowl half the time.
Oh, aye.
Like, that's a whole load of people watching it, but the people that actually pay that money to go there are your die-hard fans. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's getting so badly received.
But at the same time, they kind of make it up to the hardcore fans because of everything you get with that ticket. I mean, that's a week you get, and you've got your NXT house shows, your NXT tapings, your takeover, your Hall of Fame, you're meeting the people, the day your own entrance stuff and all that, plus all the other wrestling that's always booked round about it, all the indies that are there. So it's like, WWE are almost apologising for WrestleMania in that kind of respect, because, look, this isn't about yous, but all this stuff here is for the people that really care.
I'll agree with you there. For me, what I always try and do, if I get really, really angry about something, is I'll ask my mum. Because my mum is, I know it sounds terrible.
No, not at all, and you're quite right.
But my mum is the definition of a really casual fan. She always, because we all watched wrestling, as I said, growing up.
Mm-hmm.
But my mum was always she understands obviously that it's scripted and everything, but she still kind of believes in kayfabe.
Which is excellent.
I'm so jealous,
really
actually. So I'll turn into her and I'll be like, oh, this happened, and I'll take her reaction on board, because in theory, my mum is who they're aiming WrestleMania towards. It's that type of fan, because they know they've got us all year.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why they feel as if they can justify taking the belt off Kevin, because we've just had, from 2 weeks after SummerSlam, we've had him the champion this entire time. We've had AJ beat Cena, which was the most perfect thing ever. We've had all of this, so they feel as if they can justify, well, it's only Mania season that we don't cater to use, which I don't think is true, but that's how they feel they can justify it. But I do feel jaded about it, because it should be our time. It's meant to be that big moment, and last year just really wasn't, and I'm really fearful that this year's going to be the same, that it's going to be another letdown Mania.
I think so. I think this is just what we're going to be getting from now until WrestleMania is no longer a thing, whether the planet's eaten by the sun or they go out of business somehow or whatever. I think WrestleMania is just going to be the come on, come all. There just happens to be some of these wrestling guys. You might recognise Dwayne Johnson from such films as, you know.
And I feel as if NXT now is their way of making it up to us. You'll have this stormer of an absolutely perfectly wrestling-focused night. Mm-hmm. So the next night it's not going to be like that. But again, I don't agree with it.
Yeah. I think the way they're approaching it, you're going to have maybe 1 or 2 matches that are for the hardcore on the card, which is, Kevin and Jericho now. It was apparently going to be Cena and Samoa Joe, because the two of them have always wanted to wrestle together and never had the chance till now. They want it to be something big. Because they are old mates. They go back a long, long time, and I think that would have been something special.
Mm-hmm. Same. I'm thinking we might get that for SummerSlam or something.
That's what I'm expecting. If Cena's back in time.
I mean, I know what you're saying. It's for the average fan, the Goldberg scenario fits the bill, and having Brock Lesnar having probably the blow off match. This is it.
Fucking better me.
It better be. We know this is going to close Mania because of Goldberg's.
Yeah.
How long he can last in the ring. His tank was never full.
Tell you what, I'd be alright with him lasting 20 seconds and Brock mauling him.
See, I'm the same with that.
Because I don't want to see that match go very long.
But the segment in Raw, I thought was brilliant. Really, Paul Heyman's just legendary.
He stepped up his game again.
Yep.
They know how to play to that Chicago crowd, because the minute they punk chant started, they were have Paul Heyman, calm down, guys.
But it was absolutely brilliant, and that to me, that segment was better than the final segment. But when we get to the final segment, there was a couple of things I absolutely hated, and I loved, and WWE fucked up. I mean, they fucked up.
What?
But let's touch upon the women's scenario. The tag teams, I'm not giving a fuck about. But the women's
don't mind that shit. I want to specifically talk about Bayley.
On you go.
Now, Bayley had a hell of an NXT run, right? Anybody with common sense who's interested in making money would look at that lassie, see how over she is with the kids, especially, obviously, the girls, right? You see that when she first started catching on, the first demographic, other than the youngsters, to really embrace the idea was actually our age, and they were guys. And they all thought, into a laugh wearing this Hugger t-shirt. But it was also because Bayley put in a hell of a shift and was just so enthusiastic. And you've seen her improve week on week. Because her early promos were murder.
Yeah.
Absolutely murder. But
I
she
think
got better
that's why we
consistently.
respect. Yeah, I think that's why we ended up respecting her so much, because she was constantly trying to be better.
She was
knew
really
where she had
trying.
to.
And she
Yeah.
was already really good in the ring.
And
She
for
just
me, the
needed
thing
polished.
is, and I said it like when she was in NXT, if they used her right on main roster, she could have been the female Cena.
Well,
She
this
could
is
have
the
been
point I'm going to make.
Yeah.
Because you look at that lassie and where she went to about halfway through her NXT run when it became apparent. That's your first breakout, break the bank woman's star. The other ones that will get on really well, as we see with Charlotte. You know, every good guy needs a good bad guy.
Yeah.
But Bailey is the first woman that they would have had who is going to make insane money because she's so earnest. Her character is almost a throwback in that it's a classic baby face. You would have to do some kind of dark satanic miracle to fuck her up.
Right.
She's just literally money handed to that company on a plate. And all they had to do when she came up to Raw was follow her NXT story arc, which was, it's really cool. I really like wrestling. I get to meet all these people I watched on TV, and then I get to actually have matches with them. This is the coolest thing that ever happened to me. She's a fangirl. She's what the wee lassies want to be. That was it.
It was so
simple.
perfect. It was so perfect.
And then as soon as she wins that title, the night after they fuck it up.
Mm-hmm.
Because they had Stephanie come out and not just mention it offhand, but labour the point for 20 minutes how that's not how you should have won that title, and you know that, and you should hand it back because, you know, you're supposed to be this thing to these girls that are grown up that are looking at you as a hero, and you know you won that in the wrong way and blah, blah, blah. And then to have Bailey go, aye, but I'm keeping it. Totally fucked the character. No, I didn't really notice her, because usually if I'm up late and Raw's on, it's the volume's down low and I'm kind of half paying attention because it's Raw. Apparently there were boos for her when she was there. And that's
it was
because
a really
they've done
strange segment.
the one thing that they shouldn't have fucking done. All you had to do was have her chase the belt to Mania.
Exactly. Like, and even with them giving it to her and giving it to her in that way, it could have been forgiven if she'd have still been that pure little, like, almost little girl character that she plays. Because if she'd have been so pure about it, and even if they'd have gave it back to Charlotte, or if they'd have found a way to let her keep...
and gave it to Charlotte, you shouldn't have won it like that. But then, in saying that, how has Charlotte retained the belt for most of these 18 months?
But she's a heel. It's acceptable.
Aye, but it's also shown like the hypocritical aspect. It's all right, you can hardly hear him. It's like a hypocritical thing. You shouldn't win the belt like that. Aye, but she won the belt like that last month, and the month before, and the month before, and the month before. You didn't say anything.
Aye, no,
so, I don't have a. That's what they should have been the argument back. Yeah, but she's winning it that way constantly. You didn't do a damn thing about it. Why should you change the rule for me? I'm here living my dream. There, saved.
If they'd have done that promo like you just said for her, if that had been what she'd have been given, like, no, there's not going to be double standards here. I'm not going to be taking advantage of the way I was in NXT. I've learnt for that. It'd have been character development, and it'd have still kept her as a pure babyface who was doing the right thing for the right reasons.
Aye, but instead, no, they've got the one lassie who shouldn't be anywhere near any booze getting fucking booed.
I mean, the one thing, like all three can agree on, and we've said it for months on the cast. Anybody that follows wrestling has said the exact same thing. Bailey should have just won it at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
that was it.
Aye,
the whole idea of her getting the belt and not giving it back. As much as I cannot stand Stephanie McMahon's on-screen character, I do think she brings the show down. If they stripped her the belt and give it back to Charlotte, and then Charlotte obviously still retains it at Fastlane through DQ or anything, interference like obviously it happened, it makes it more special at WrestleMania. That Charlotte streak is broken, finally. Officially broken. And the fact that the face has triumphed overall. Instead, what we've got is a triple threat again for the Raw Women's title. The only difference is Becky Lynch is not on it. And the fact is,
That's like, oh no, sorry, no, I'm holding
I
half
mean,
listening there. I confused myself. Continue. Sorry.
and see,
I don't know if you've heard, but apparently, earlier the night in Fastlane, Sasha had fucked up the finish, which meant they had to change the finish a Bailey's match.
Oh right, no, I missed this. Sorry, because I don't
So
usually watch the pre-shows because they're balls.
no, it wasn't
well,
on.
it wasn't on
Oh
the
right,
pre-show. It wasn't on the pre-show, the Sasha
Oh.
Nia Jax match, but you could tell there was a fuck up during it because it just didn't look right. The finish was awful.
Yeah, apparently she was meant to hold on to the ropes and get the pin that way,
Right.
and like that was going to push her towards being heel again. And then
Ah.
the further, like, and then when she got like came out for the Charlotte Bailey match, she was meant to get the disqualification, and that would protect Charlotte's streak.
Oh.
And that's how it was meant to go, which I would have been fine with. That would have made
Yeah.
perfect sense to me. And then she didn't hold the ropes for the match, so she won, which fucked that up, which meant they had to like fumble quickly apparently and change everything. But then the ref didn't disqualify them anyway. There was just so much wrong with Fastlane, like. But yeah, that was what was meant to happen there.
It's one of those things, and what brings the sad reality is, do we want to really pay attention to this triple threat? Just now, no. I think closer to the time, if they can fix things out, yeah, I think it will be good to watch. But at the time just now, it's something, it's like, we seen this last year.
Yeah.
And it was great. Can they pull it off again? Hopefully, but it's one of those things where you're looking at it now and you're like, wow, this is so fucked up. And speaking of fuck ups, to close off the Raw section, Undertaker. Right, I'm happy I seen him back. I'm not going to lie.
Of course.
This is the first time I've fully expected Taker to lose at WrestleMania, by the way.
Well, the whole thing with the Braun Strowman being in the ring, calling out Roman Reigns, loved it. I totally fell in love. Took me a while, but I listened to you and I listened to a lot of other people about Braun Strowman. Fell in love with him. I was like, right, okay.
Yeah, he's getting there. He really is, and I'm enjoying watching him grow.
And he's only going to get better, which is terrifying to me.
Yep. And
especially after that Big Show match, which is a sentence I never thought I'd say.
Exactly. Right? And in one full swoop, WWE fucked it everything. They just fucked it all up. Let's start with the thing they kind of gave it away. Braun Strowman's in the ring, calls out Roman Reigns. Fuck up the music. Production, that can happen, but it was like the most stupid,
the worst time.
Up. That was the worst time. So Roman Reigns' music hits. Oh shit! Not Undertaker. Undertaker comes out. Braun Strowman just backs off.
I mean,
fair enough. He's terrifying.
I mean, I get that, but like with that fuck up, I mean, it was basically a called audible. They had to kind of work out on screen right in front of us. Like, do we take the end away for this? Do we do like? So I can forgive it to an extent, but I can see why people are so mad that he backs off. And it was such a good moment. And for a minute, I was like, is this going to be a triple threat? Is this going to be Braun versus Taker instead? Like, I had me doubting for a second.
See, if it was, it would be such a better match.
I'm hoping that it does turn into a triple threat because Roman Reigns and Undertaker, I couldn't give a fuck about, and it's nothing to do with the character of Roman Reigns. It's the fact that they built up this story with Braun Strowman. He lost clean at Fastlane, which
made no sense at all.
It made no sense. You could have had a double disqualification, a double count out.
Anything would have been better than the clean win. It made no sense at all.
If Taker comes out going on about my yard and they two are standing in it, then you've got yourself something. You've got a story right there. Instead, now we've cut straight to it's Undertaker Roman Reigns. But I'm not interested. I'm genuinely not interested because now they're pushing as if Roman Reigns is going to be bigger than the Undertaker. Personally, I think it still should have been John Cena and
Yes.
Undertaker. That's
John Cena thinks it should have been John Cena.
I think
Exactly.
I think it should have been that, and it was just an awful way to end Raw. I just felt it was just piss poor. Piss poor. This is something they could have done, but around about the 2 hour mark, and still keep the Goldberg thing. I thought was bigger than that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I suppose I can see your point there, but for me, I think it was a big moment, but for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Because you've now got basically two faces, because even when Undertaker's heel, he's a face.
Yes.
And then they're pushing Roman as a face who's a heel. So I suppose it could work, but just knowing the way they're going to want it to. And I honestly do think that they're going to give, because Taker's so about the now, he's said a few times that this is going to be his last Mania, and then the next year he gets himself ready again. I do think he wants to give it back to either Roman or maybe Braun, but I think it will be Roman.
It should be Braun though, because he'd get more out of it. The Roman experiment is a failure. It's a failure.
I can understand WWE's point where they always want a guy who's a solid worker, who will work their ass off, and who you can feed any other style to, and it will work.
Aye.
But nobody really likes it.
Like, I don't think there's many folk who actively dislike Roman the person. And the point that we've made on here, time and time again, is that the guy shows up, he puts the shift in, he doesn't complain. Apart from his recent weird no-selling spell, whatever that's about, and he's
it's
dependent.
Not just him though, there's a lot of people.
Well, specifically in his bigger matches on Raw, it stands out. Yeah. But it's the booking that's the problem. And I don't mean turn him heel. I mean, like, make him a different character.
Let him be. See when he had these United States like championship run, and they kind of let him and Rusev, and it seemed as if they loosened up with what he had to say, and like it had to be like this and scripted. Even if they just loosen up and let him have a wee bit more fun, I think that would help, because people seem.
This Cena 2.0, and no two biggest names in the WWE have been the same in a row. Because you had Hogan, then you had Bret Hart, and then you went from Bret Hart to Shawn Michaels, and then from Shawn Michaels to Stone Cold, Stone Cold to The Rock to Cena.
Exactly. Like, I get that they've always had that one guy that they depend on to be an absolute workhorse. I get that they need that for their brand and to push and market and all that stuff, but they can't expect him to be Cena, because Cena's Cena, The Rock's The Rock.
Exactly.
Let him be himself,
Aye.
and you might see a change in people. And I think that's the problem, is we all know that that's not who Roman is. Like, when you hear him in interviews and stuff, he's nothing like that.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I'm like, why can we not have this guy that, like, this guy could possibly get air, but they're so determined to have him be Cena's copy that it just it isn't working for most people. Most people still don't accept John Cena, despite the fact that he's been there for fucking 12 years.
Aye, exactly. And no putting a foot wrong, has a great match with anybody and does all this stuff for the company and individual fans, and also the Make-A-Wish stuff, which he never wanted advertised even once. You know, I mean, if you're booing Cena at this point, you're either licking Wendy's or you're, a super edgelord.
Aye, because Cena, the last while, I've been so impressed. This is like the most impressed I've been with Cena.
My only gripe with him is how he reacts to other people's promos in the ring. Like the other week with Miz, when he's just shaking his head, making wanker gestures. Should either be getting angry or not there to react at all, because I'm supposed to be taking the heel seriously. They're chuckling away.
He's went to the Nikki Bella School of Acting, mate. That's basically what's happened.
Which was really just a tramp with a bottle of Bucky, round the bin.
Oh, Lord.
But closing Raw, it was a good show. They had to do something, because Fastlane, and that's what I'm calling it, Fastlane was just fucking awful.
You mean Gash Lane?
Aye, Gash Lane, we can use that as well. And we were excited to see what SmackDown was going to do. To me, I felt SmackDown promos were amazing. I thought the promos from all the heels were spot on.
I actually watched
Aye.
Talking Smack. That says a
Same.
lot about how good everybody is on that.
Apart from Kurt Hawkins, I couldn't give two fucks about him.
Right. But that's where the fast forward button comes
that's
in.
what that is. But
I mean, I'm surprised I'm not being blocked by him, because the other week I was pointing out, you know, it's weird how Kurt Hawkins is now in the role of, that jobber's fucking Kurt Hawkins. Good. That's what he deserves for taking Chuck Norris's 15-year-old online gimmick.
There were so many things that were good, and they're setting up, and now we've basically got the rough idea what's happening at WrestleMania. Now we know.
Mm-hmm.
I feel as if SmackDown consistently has been a lot more straightforward, and this is what's happening, this is where we're going, and you can see the finish
The
line.
other thing about SmackDown, though, is even though they're doing so much better with their presentation and bringing guys on, when it comes to their actual matches, look what happened at the Rumble, right? How many SmackDown matches were on the undercard?
2.
Right, that's what I'm worried about. I feel
Right?
as if
I think this is going to happen again.
Oh, it will happen, mate.
Which means Luke
Mania.
Harper, who has been getting the push that he completely deserved because he's brilliant, is going to get a bit lost in the shuffle at Mania. AJ is likely having a match with Shane, or so the rumours goes. Then you've got your IC belt and your world belt matches.
I mean,
Right. And your women's.
If you take Luke Harper, mate, I hope, and he fucking deserves it, because if the ideal scenario is they make the Undertaker a triple threat match, put Luke Harper in the Battle Royale, let him win it.
Aye.
Yeah.
Let him win it.
Aye.
It makes total sense. Then build that push up again. It makes
Yes.
so much sense.
You're absolutely right. But right now, unless he's in that Battle Royal, he's not got anything lined up.
No. I mean,
Which is a waste of the past 2 months, because he's been involved in the world title feud.
I mean, if you take the women's, if we start with the women's, right, compared to...
Right, I like their idea for the women.
I like it.
Women's match.
They're setting it up, if Naomi... I mean, if it's against every woman wrestler, right?
Aye.
If Naomi's healed in time...
She can make a first appearance at Mania,
And
get a great pop, and maybe even win it, where she should have. In the first
and it's
bloody
her
place.
hometown as well.
Aye.
So it makes sense. It makes sense with that. I totally get the story idea. Naomi still has a lot to work on. She's not as green as Carmella by any means.
I just feel as if she's slightly out of control a lot of the time. Like, I don't trust
Just
watching
slightly,
her.
but
Like, if that makes, like, I don't, when I watch her, I'm like, oh, please be okay.
It makes sense, pal, because like a lot of people's even spoke about it. You know what her moveset is because they've scaled it back, and you can tell instantly whether they're working the match. They're going to do this, they're going to do that. There's something that's never different. It's always it's scripted so well that you know it's like, oh fuck, right, you can tell what's going to happen. Hopefully she changes that and like changes some things to her moveset, because obviously the way she wrestles is why she hurt herself.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I fear for this women's title match, because I've got a bad feeling this is going to be in a pre-show, which I don't want to see. I think
it deserves more, a lot more.
I would rather watch this women's title match compared to the Raws.
Same.
Aye.
And I like that Mickey finally turned on Alexa
Yes.
as well.
Aye. Everybody's out for themselves. There's no alliances. It makes more sense. It's this wrestling rule 1. Right, that's how simple this is. You know who the bad guy is, you know who the good guy is. There's got to be several ones. You get it. So it makes more sense. The Miz section, I loved. This guy just can't do anything wrong, in my opinion.
It's an actual heel who gets booed.
I mean, that's impressive. In the last year, The Miz has been a lot better, but for me, I'm always worried that he falls into that inconsistency bubble where 1 week he'll be amazing on mic, and then the next week you're like,
I know what you mean, but since since the brand split and him being such a big part of SmackDown, he has not slipped up.
I'll agree with you there. The last year or so, I've been really impressed. Like, he slowly won me back to right, we're getting somewhere, but I still worry. Like, I've still got that wee doubt in my mind. Like, can he really pull these big matches off and carry
I
them the
really
way?
think he can, and I think WrestleMania, if he can somehow make this match worth watching,
Oh,
that'll be the
Yeah.
proper making of him.
I
And
mean,
we'll probably see him get a world title run this year.
is Maurice has Maurice been training again? Because
Oh,
she's been gone for a while.
You can actually, I noticed this in SmackDown, seeing she put her arms up in the air, you can clearly see she's got a bit of muscle back. She's been
Right.
training, you can see it in her. And I think that's probably why she's wearing a wee bit more loose clothing. I mean, the way
Yeah.
they've set
Yeah.
this up is like the most stupid fucking way they've set it up, and it is basically for fucking Total Bellas or Total Divas.
Oh, totally. Do you know what? I'm
It's-
actually half expecting Cena and Nikki to win, Cena to propose after.
I've heard that so much,
It's,
but
it's
I didn't know it was a thing going round.
Oh,
It's
no, it's a thing,
just
mate,
an idea
and
that I've
That's
got.
a-
no. This is like going around dirt sheets, everything.
yeah,
It's
this is a
so-
thing.
Oh, wow.
Because it's became a running joke now that Nikki desperately wants to get married and John's like back
I thought
half.
that's all it was for the sake of the TV show. But, I mean, can't really grudge them having that moment. It's going to be a big deal. Just let's hope that it leads to a SummerSlam wedding. Just like Macho
Good point.
and Elizabeth.
Oh my god.
But this match, I'm looking forward to it in the sense I want to see John Cena and The Miz go at it again. I still think from WrestleMania 27 they both fucked up, and obviously it was more for The Rock. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hated it.
it was the worst WrestleMania. Still,
Stone Cold hated it. You don't want to take that thing home, you son of a bitch, right?
it's one of the worst WrestleManias, and to see these two guys back at WrestleMania, right? Okay, it's a mixed tag, but it's interesting to see how they two react.
It's either redemption time or the Miz is fucked, I think.
Aye.
Aye.
Last night, that match with Carmella and fucking
Oh,
Ellsworth.
that double fucking
By the way, can I just say, and I made this joke on Twitter earlier because, well, I like to repeat my jokes. I always thought that I'd see Nikki Bella do a 5-knuckle shuffle on TV, just knows part of WWE.
It was one of those things. It was like, what the
It was
fuck? This was a house show
so
match.
bad. It was so cringy. And like I expected Nikki to run off one rope and John the other and
Aye,
like
instead,
pro
he
sell.
ran further.
It
But the
was,
two of them, oh, it was so
And then
bad.
she stood there going, what's this move? I've never seen you do it before.
And then she done it face side on rather than
She
oh,
just did
it
a
was
Jerry Lawler.
even better.
Right.
Lawler fist
Even
drop.
better, see if you listen to the commentating, they shouted a double AA. She never hit an AA, by the way. She did not do
Can I
that.
just say also about the commentating? See Mauro Ranallo? He was absolutely brilliant. He's saying how it was Nikki and John go together like chocolate and strawberry, whereas Ellsworth and Carmella go together like alcohol and social media.
I mean,
Aye.
it was a throwaway match. I mean,
Oh,
that's-
totally. It was just for people to see them together and
I mean,
give
that's
them
the thing.
a
If
minute
you
together.
look, if you look at the SmackDown matches, I mean, apart from the main event, which was fucking good.
Oh, and they've saved that big move for a pay-per-view.
Aye,
You know exactly what I mean.
Oh,
Holy
yes.
shit. They've built a 30-foot tall WWE belt to put on display at WrestleMania Access.
Oh fuck!
Really?
Send you a picture. Seriously, I'll retweet it on the Smacked Up account for you.
I will
I'll send it to you as well.
We'll put it in the Facebook account as well. But like,
Aye.
if you take the matches, like the women's one was like self-explanatory. Like they were stabbing each other in the back. That's the match set up. The tag team
Typical woman.
Oh, that looks amazing.
Bloody WWE.
Any money that will be the sign for them walking out.
Probably.
Any money, which I think.
Oh
will
my
be cool
god, that's
as fuck.
amazing.
I like that. We'll have this on the Facebook and the Twitter. Basically, it is just the big belt. But I
It's
think
just
this
a
will be
big- it's a
this
big
will be-
belt.
Literally.
This will be something to do with the stage. That looks amazing.
It does.
Says it's on display for the week, so it might not be.
Ooh, this will be strange then. Hopefully it will. I love my WrestleMania stages. I always like to see what they do.
That's the only one they actually put effort into anywhere.
Aye. The like if you like the tag team's non-existent now, which I think that'll be pre-show at best.
Yeah.
I mean, where even have been American Alpha lately? Like, what
I
is
know,
going
they're
on with
just
them?
kind of wasted,
'Cause
aren't
Aye.
they?
I loved American. I got so behind American Alpha, and then when they go to SmackDown, I was like, right, well, rip everybody, because they done nothing with any their tag teams for NXT, like at all. And I'm like, why spend 3 years building people and 5 years like putting them in training if you're just going to get them to main roster and then do nothing?
Well, let's go back to
Yeah.
like one tag team that, like, I know it's going back to Raw, but Enzo and Cass kind of say it all. They are the most annoying fucking thing on TV, more than the New Day just now.
Are they
That's-
trying to turn them, or are they
I
just
have no
trying
idea,
to see
mate.
how far they can keep them being wanks?
Mate, I have no idea. I fucking hate them. I don't like watching them. They're more annoying than New Day just now, and that's same.
It's the fact that they're not putting any effort in, and I really don't get what they're going for. Are they still a tag team? Are they now a singles thing with Enzo as the manager? Why is he being such a pie? Why the fuck is Cass also being a dick? And then they shout at Cesaro for a bit, and then fuck off.
Aye, it's bullshit, mate, and that's how like the tag teams in the women's division should have merged. It should have been one on one show, one on the other. And now
Aye.
we kind of see it more on SmackDown. It's like, fuck. But they've got good talent. That's the difference. There is fucking talent there in that tag team division. It's just where
They're
can you
no day.
where can you put this on a 2-hour show? But speaking of the 2-hour show, let's talk about the IC title. That entire
excited.
segment was brilliant.
With the
Aye.
forklift.
Yep.
Yeah.
Except for one thing. Forklift didn't go far enough down, so Dean had to like lean up into it and pretend he was being choked.
Well,
And
the
it
thing
looked
is,
like shit.
was they were probably told by management, like, don't lower it all the way. Like,
He
that was
could have
probably
got a wee
health
bit more.
I'll agree with you there.
I know he
but, like,
probably couldn't see it, but they should have had like some sign referee over the,
Mhm.
out a shot or something. Instead, Dean's having to like, sit up and go, and it just looked fucking stupid.
But I liked, like, I did like it. I like the idea that Baron is like balls out. I like the fact that the commentators as well. Like, usually JBL's like off for the heels and stuff because he's your fucking heel commentator.
Mhm.
Like, even he was like, "That's disgusting. That's too
Aye.
far." Like,
Yeah,
I
totally
liked
sold
it.
it.
I like how everything was set out in that. I like that Dean, there was like 3 segments of him actually searching rather than him walking
Aye.
straight out and him just being there, no actually hiding. I liked everything about it. I'm really excited for this storyline.
I mean, I personally think, I know it's a bit early to do predictions, but it's not an essential prediction. Well, it is, but it's no. But I think Dean will just keep it at WrestleMania, but he'll drop it at the next SmackDown pay-per-view after WrestleMania. The way they're building this up, it's like the heel's getting too much over in the face. I can't see him dropping it at Mania, just purely the way they're doing this story. But it's a good story. It is a fucking
I don't
excellent
know.
story.
I think he's going to win it,
But
and then hold on
I'm
to
with you.
Extreme Rules.
I think so. I think so far with the build we've still got 3 weeks just over. So we'll see how it goes for then. But at the moment, I think that Baron's going to take it off of Dean at the moment.
Aye.
So let's finish on arguably. Oh, sorry.
One thing I was going to say, and I meant to bring it up earlier with the bit about Bailey, is it's like no one in WWE really knows how to write a good guy anymore.
Because
Because,
heels
well,
can get over so quickly, so easily.
Yes.
But I think it's easier to be a heel. I really do. I think to be a heel, it's so
aye,
easy.
definitely. The problem is once you're a heel, is avoiding getting cheered because people like dicks. It's that simple. The only people who have managed it is Miz by being a proper Hollywood diva cock, and Owens by breaking everyone's heart, and I'll never get over that. I'll never
Right.
get over that segment. Never.
When he said on Raw as well, to go back to
I
it,
know.
where he was like, "You were never my best friend."
I
I,
know.
was like,
Ah.
Kevin,
You
Kevin, why?
bastard! The wee when that happened, I was saying to him, well, look, I've watched Owens for years now since getting introduced to him and Generico's feud, and I'm a massive fan. I'm delighted he's done so well, but even I want to see him get his comeuppance for this, and I was shouting at the telly, how could you do this, you bastard.
Oh, it was really well done. And
It was perfect.
there's so many good things to take away from the two shows, especially
But
after
getting
Sunday.
to my actual point before Owens and his bastard and evilness distracted me, they can't write a face. They can't do it. Everybody who's a face, except, well, I was going to say except for like Taker, but even at that, I'm not so sure anymore. They're getting booed. Everybody, by at least a segment of the crowd. In fact, I think the only exception who's on TV regularly is Cesaro.
Aye, Cesaro's got
And
it.
that's
Cesaro's
because he's a freak of nature who can do anything in that thing.
except for a 619. I'm tired of that. It looks terrible.
And
He's too
also
big.
lift Enzo, because Enzo is a fucking sack of totties, apparently.
Yep, it looks like it did look like he was going to potato sack him when he was going to drop him by accident.
Aye.
It's like,
and it wasn't Cesaro's fault,
no,
by the way. It was all in Enzo.
It's Enzo.
And it's killing Cesaro's gimmick of being the big, strong, foreign bastard.
Yep.
Anyway, sorry, again, my point is they can't book a face, and Cesaro's not getting cheered because of the writing. He's getting cheered because he can do things in that ring no one else can.
Agreed.
And it's like going about getting these Hollywood writers or these people who know the product and have written for TV before, but apparently every single one of them has only written arseholes.
It's crazy. And I think, like, when you're talking about like the heels and baby faces, I think the final match in SmackDown kind of showed quite a lot of it. Now, we didn't have Bray Wyatt. He might have been there on a dark match.
Dark match.
But let's take what we've seen, and you've got SmackDown's second biggest face, so to speak, in Randy Orton. John Cena will always be the face, but their top heel, who is more over than anybody in AJ Styles.
Aye.
Yeah, he was getting cheered.
What a match.
It was beautiful. I was so happy. And when I seen they were getting like a 25-minute segment to do everything, I was like, this is everything that we need. No a random 10 minutes at the end and try and throw
20
through
minutes
everything.
are two of the very best at what they do going at it.
I mean, even you said, Martin, one of the moves, like the jumping the top rope, they've teased that. That's a tease.
That was so well done.
That's a pay-per-view finish, and it was so... It was done brilliant. It was timed perfect for both.
Yes.
I mean, there was nothing...
And AJ's shit-eating grin.
Aye.
Yeah.
When he shows that he's caught him out.
Aye. It was so perfect.
It was beautiful.
And I think to finish off the week after we had the shit pay-per-view, a good Raw with certain aspects that need fixed, and it's like a competent SmackDown. It's just ticks the boxes. It's doing the right thing. And then it finished with that. Was like, yes, now we've got something.
Yeah, it's something to just grip onto. Yeah, like, and even, I don't know if you've watched Talking Smack, but they showed AJ coming back into the gorilla position. They showed a video of him coming in, and he just started screaming and losing it with Shane, and it was perfect. Like, every single thing was perfect for there.
I mean, it's you know what's happening with SmackDown with regards to WrestleMania, and the storylines make sense.
Aye, and I'm sure it's going to work out that Extreme Rules is like 2 weeks after, so whoever isn't on that card is going to get the thing.
I mean, and that's
then.
Like what we were saying with Raw, like, you're questioning the stories, and it's like, that doesn't make sense. But it's a SmackDown one. It's like, it makes sense. It just that everything's gearing towards WrestleMania. You know exactly who and what is doing what. You know.
And do you know what? The other thing I was going to say, see if SmackDown kept that style of booking and they had the 3 hours, I could actually watch those 3 hours weekly, because there's always development. And okay, that would probably add one more promo and one more match to it, because SmackDown have that really, really smart way, the time that they have.
You can easily, if that went to 3 hours, like you said, an extra promo, okay, tag team match.
That's what I was about to say. That's where they
there you go.
slot their tag teams in, and then it would be perfect. It would be every week. Every belt would be showcased. Every storyline would have time, and there wouldn't be any. like I'd watch a 3-hour SmackDown, but
Aye.
the idea of watching a live 3-hour Raw is it's
Well,
just
well.
get,
It's a chore,
It is.
especially when you're actually there. That was a
Aye.
fucking chore.
Yeah.
that was not the best experience. Right, so we're bringing the podcast to a close. We had a good week, like I said. Started shit, and it's gradually got better. Now we can only see what's happening. This is it. There's nothing more till WrestleMania, 3 weeks, and then we've got the big show. So I can't wait for it. So Kirsty, how did you feel first podcast?
really good actually. Felt like
Oh, cut off, pal.
what have I done? What have I?
You're back now. It just cut off in the middle of you talking.
Right, so
I bumped my mic. Sorry.
right, so if I take it back to right, okay. So how do you feel, pal, after the first podcast? How does it feel?
Feels really good. I've really enjoyed doing it. I've enjoyed like taking all my notes and knowing what I wanted to say, and I think that it flowed well. I feel really good about it, man.
Yeah,
aye.
I found it really good. Like there's more things that it's been really good. Even like for myself, I mean, listening to you two bounce back and forth, talking about the wrestling, like some aspects maybe I might have missed, but you two clicked and you could talk about it. That was totally brilliant. So everyone, thanks as always for listening to Smacked Up Wrestling Podcast. You can check us out at Twitter, Facebook, all the descriptions, even mine's, Martin's and Kirsty's Twitter accounts, all in the description below. And be sure to check out all the Gaming Faults friends on the side panel. As you can see, we've got Real Talk, the Metaphor Messiah, the Grinded Word, Dead on Dave Productions, Big Daddy Land. We've got all sorts of people. Please check these guys out. Big fans of the channel. I always leave a like. If you find anything that you want to talk about, leave it in the comments. Tell us what you thought of Raw and SmackDown, or even if you have got ideas for WrestleMania coming up. As always, sub to the channel, help us out. We'll keep doing what we always do for this podcast. So, to bring it to a close, I've been Will.
I've been Kirsty.
And I've been looking into changing the name of this podcast to Genders Love Taj Mahal.
Everyone, thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next Wednesday for another Smacked Up Wrestling podcast.
Cheerio.
Bye.